with me, Sharon Dang. Today, I will be driving you through one of my favorite topic, and which I come across in my life, and that's what I'm experiencing at this point in time. So, just stay tuned to know about the touch, not the touch of the skin, but the touch of the soul in a short while. Welcome back. So, today in this insight, I will discuss to you about the touch. Um, and it's the name of an NGO. It's not about only the name of the NGO, but it's all about what we learn from those life and those experiences when we are around those kids and those children who are orphanage, who are orphaned by so-called by nature, by life, or by consequences of life, right? But it's very touching for anybody when they experience something as such. Um, Something of that sort of is going on in my life today, wherein there are a lot of world property exchanges were being made by my mother. She was completely, lost her mind, and she don't know. She given it to somebody else that belonged to, I don't know to whom she has given up on, but I've lost a huge share. And more than the share, it's all about talk and conversation about the legal aspects of the property matters, and to make sure that even if she is ready to send off, or she is planning to get retired, or probably don't want to work, or don't want to um, or even in case like wanted to stay not separated but together with some other people, not with me, so she can always talk it out in a good manner. But then she decided to pull this decision off, that she is giving the entire property to somebody else. And trust me, this property have got a lot of memories of my granny, my father, my child whom I brought up in this home, and a lot of hold it love and care, because when you take care of a home for you know more than a long years, I would say almost around say 20-25 years, or 20-29 years now. And all these years I never faulted for my responsibilities, even if the life been really tough for me, challenging, moving to different places of work, or encountering a lot of difficulties in the workplaces. Since I was in HR, and the HR field is a lot more competitive, and I was not lucky enough to get any good position in a very soft and smoother manner. I've always been subject to competition, a lot of competition, lot of proving yourself, your abilities. So we need to keep learning a lot and graduating ourselves, or take some certification programs, so that we become competitive. And every time there is a call for an interview, freaking scare you up, because you have to work with your mind. So there's a lot of mind games involved, and even if they put you for a test, though you're confident you can win everything, but still they make you fail and make you feel offended, and tell you, oh, you don't have that experience, we will not give it. It's not nothing like, we cannot do. Once you are already graduated from a B school, you can take any role. It's just a matter of competition and how the people view you, and whether you're fit for that industry, whether you're fit for those groups. It's all a matter of subject matter experts, how they evaluate you. And I was always a very shy person. I'm not very open minded, and I'm not very domineering kind of thing. I look like a domineering, but I'm not actually. I'm very sensitive, very cooperative, and employees take me for granted. But I, on the contrary, work with very simplistic manner of putting the execution in the right place. I hope it's making sense to you. I do not believe in cutthroat mind game politics and bitch biting and all that hatred policies what most of the HR bring onto the table. I rather look into more psychological way, more business, like in a very organizational way, to execute the work and to study about the people and deliver the right work onto the right place, but with a lot of hard driven performance. So for me, nothing matters more than a performance. Even when you talk, when you execute even is slightest conversation, for me perfection is most important. So perfection, performance and excellence is what the three ingredients I always carry with me. So I have grown up with some of my masters. I've grown up with few masters in my professional career who really shaped up my life, my career, my skills, and really have given me that outbreak to learn a lot and to study a lot to understand this is a role and this is how you have to deal with. But it would be like 10% of it, and those are the people who are very much brighter on the side, very much wiser and very knowledgeable people, and I was being trained and cared in a very like a childish way, like they like a child like thing. They cared me a lot, they nurtured me. But on the contrary, when you due to certain reasons, when you move with that knowledge to another company, you may not get that kind of like people. So like lucky enough to get few of them, but not very lucky enough to get quick break or quick start. It's always subject with test and retest and proving yourself. Most of the time. So like those kind of hectic competition is like really scary you sometimes. And when you don't have a family of your own, like I was having my family, so I can like put my words on, and then okay fine, it works, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, I can go back home and prepare myself and come back and face the world in a new way. But this time it's completely different, it's very different from me. um I'm actually feeling a big loss because unfortunate that the people whom I cared a lot, could be my son or could be my siblings or my own people, or in fact even the neighbors, the people whom I always vibrated a positive energy with them, they actually trying with competing with me rather than not supporting me. On the contrary, like all these years when you work, of course it will impact your brain, your mind, your body in some shape or form. Yes, of course finance is one of the thing, but then also you need to take a break, like after COVID, the post the pandemic has brought a picture in the mind of the people that most of them wanted to get retired. And when the world has opened up, everything is going normal, they wanted to get back to the life. It was very obvious, but then I was always heading with the planning of like wanting to get retired, because enough of working in this competitive market, enough of training your skills and putting out there, learning a lot, gaining a lot of certification. Trust me, there's no end for HR skill sets. Every time there's some or the other learning have to be keep up with you. Otherwise, you cannot just operate in a normal or in a good manner, in a very healthy manner. When you cannot even beat the other competitors. That's the only profound way that we always be motivated or inspired to learn a lot and take a degree or even a small time courses which can give you some kind of certification, add it up in your CV and let your profile look like very much interesting. That can be a call for another interview. So this was the world going on, which was very exciting. But then now I'm in a stage where I wanted to really settle with one particular company or probably get retired in one particular company. And I also wanted to become independent, you know. So things doesn't work the way how we structure, but the most heartening experience is when your own people whom you cared for such a long years, you really have to see their true face, true color, true nature when you're back to your home and you wanted to settle up with them. They really don't like you because I look very modest. They are very traditional form of the people, and I really don't fit into that, you know, clan things. But I am not even willing to understand what is the difference making the way how you look. You are by blood their own person, and they should not be treated you in this way or something. But never mind. I do always have the peace of mind. Like I fought a lot many battles in my life that I feel it's a wicked game what they have played, and they played on to themselves. They have not played on to me because I think even if they wanted to kick me out from a home or probably make me feel like, you know, you have nothing left now, you're absolutely orphan and you go out there with anybody you wish to, that's really not gonna work because far more like, you know, I do have my dignity, I do have my ethical lines which I will not cross for my personal growth and development and for my personal sanity. And the world is really a cruel place to live in today's, you know, time. So I do know with all those kind of experiences what I have come with, I know how to gauge the people, and I do understand to the extent what people can do harm for you. It could be your family, your friends, your close loved ones, in fact your own blood or your own child. Today is not the time when you can trust on any one of them, except the pets. You know, the pets are the beautiful creature whom you can actually trust for. You know, they don't feel jealousy, hatred, anger. They just want your love and unconditional love. And I think that's the only thing which I feel connected to, and to the people who actually understood about my contribution in the family, but they are no more with me. That's my granny and my dad. But never mind, the souls are always present out there and can watch you. And in my personal experiences, what I have learned is like always be caring towards the people who are needy. There was many instances when I observed my sibling, like my brother and my sister. They have been like upfrontly neglecting my parents and ill treating them or not even supporting them. Or many times there was so much of quarrels and fights that they decided not to even meet each other. But I was the mediocre, you know. I was a medium to make that conversation happen and make that balancing impact to bring it forward to the relationship, so that it would stay, it would look like a family people, you know. And I'm very much fond of like home, family, pets, and I don't know, that's my world, that's my oyster. And I feel very happy, I feel very much in touch with me. But when they neglect them, and I feel really disheartening, I feel really pinched to my soul, like, you know, how could do, because they are not educated parents, they are not earning that great money, or they are sick and ill. How can you just leave them like that? And often I took so much of risk in my life that I never minded my jobs or my state or my status quo. In fact, not even for my marriage, I've always given a lot to my parents. But then lately I realized that that's really wrong. You should always have a very conscious mind to how much you're giving to whom, you know. In fact, even to your partners, there are many marriages have broken, or you know, many relationship have become really sore when you overgive to your partners, or to any of your loved ones. They actually take advantage of you. In fact, it happens with me also. Like when one of my friend keep always supporting me, I just have a little bad habit of not saving money. I always overspend. So whenever I need something, I just ask him and he always give me. But I always take him for granted and I don't know why, but then I take him for granted by natural sense, But I do know I have a soul connection with him. I can always ask him, I can always go back to him. So I feel like comfortable, and that is really not good. So we have to understand that we are playing with humans' emotions, humans' life, and it's really not good, really not fair enough. Today, this similar experiences where I've been feeling like, when my parents, whom I cared too much in life, more than anybody, any siblings could stand by for them, I did, and I was well enough to support them. I was willing enough to do anything, any hard work for them. And after all that, they just betrayed me like anything. They just given me a close hand and a cold shoulder and could say like, you know what, forget it. You your way, I'm my way, and you know what, nothing is for you. It's everything for your siblings and everything for other siblings or other cousins or other people. And there's so much involvement because there's a lot of pressure from the outside forces, which I can feel it, sense it, like the community where I live in or the neighbors I indulge with, they all are like very negative towards the family because we are by religion we are the only Hindu family existing, surrounded with all Muslim families. So they always wanted this home should not exist, this family should not prosper. So it's not very negative, but that's how they think about it, and that's really sickening. It's really sore, it's really, really, really bad because when you have to expand a community, irrespective of what religion they belong to, what matters the most is have a heart of compassion and love and care for each other. I do know I have this nature of being dominating sometimes when I feel like they are not good or they are this or they are that, and I feel like to be blunt and speak out, but yeah, even walls have to have the ears, so we never know what happened, how it happened. But it's all gone now, so there's no point of discussion. But I feel a great loss, and this all the loss is making me recollect that one particular time when I've been into the NGO, and this was taken by an activity which happens every monthly, that or quarterly or maybe yearly, that working for in a hotel industry, we understood that the hotel do a lot of plannings for their financial concerns as well as for tax saving purposes, and also a part of a social activities which they do like a CSR activity, wherein they personally take a lot of food from the kitchen area and gather a lot of investment of shopping like clothes and all that stuff, and then give it to this NGO which is called as the touch, I mean to say, the name of that NGO is Sparsha, and they literally do a lot for them. When my manager called me just to have a visit, and it's a part of the CSR, so you have to be part of the HR and represent the HR department. Since you're a new HR, so just understand this, and then you can take it over next month or probably whenever the next time it happens. And trust me, the moment when I entered that Sparsha, that's the name of the NGO. And even before that particular hotel, my previous hotel, Also, which was like a married chain of La Meridien hotel back in Bangalore. And there I've seen these children's participate for annually, and a lot of attention given to them, like free food and all that cultural activities they do. And during those cultural activities they exhibit some of their talents. Their talents could be anything, maybe um you know maybe sketching a portraits, or probably writing a poem, or decorating with small seashells and stuff like that, and just do whatever the crafts they wanted to, and then exhibit it. And when people understand that these are the children who made from their own hand their greetings, and beautiful pictures, greeting cards, and monuments, sculptures and all that stuff, and these are the kids left with no one. So anybody feel emotional, and anybody will feel overwhelmed, and they just come there and contribute, like say $100, and there's no limit for the contribution, so it can go from $50 to $100 and more than that, or $1,000. And whatever you contribute and go directly for that particular work, directly to their pocket, and that makes them so very happy, so very delighted, that they feel like, okay, finally the work is being done. And that really was very inspiring. But the moment when I've entered this hostel of orphanage boys staying in a particular place, there are a mix of two places, one for girls and one for boys. And went to the boys area, where I've seen it's very poor condition where they stay, how they stay. It's like no proper bed, and really very, very, very difficult to see these children are growing up. And it was very shocking that my HR executive, he really inspired me, the way he was working for that day, for their children. He was so much full of big heart, he was very energetic, and really knowing each and every kid's name, you know, and on tip of his mouth, tip of his tongue. And I was like, really shocking to see, how much these children are like fond of him. So whenever they hear, oh my God, he is coming down to meet them, they are so overwhelmed. They all come and stand next to the balcony and just, say hi to him from the top, and take his name as if he's a celebrity for them. And he's a very young guy, with very young guy, like younger than me, and I could see that heart, that the purity of a heart and soul, which was like extending over beyond a limit, and even has no attitude problem, no egos in him. And it's like he is so open-minded to help each and every kids, and feed them food, and give them clothes, and ask them, how is your study doing, what happened to him, where is he, and all that kind of conversation, as if he knows he's a part of their family, and they are part of his heart, his soul. And that is really, really made me move my experience working with my colleague. Will never forget him, because every time I look at him, it was like so awe-inspiring moment, like, oh my God. And the way these kids are so attached to him, and he's so much fond of them, it's like really marvelous to see that relationship. And trust me, I learned a lot from this young guy. Though he was young by age, but with the work and with the kind of the heart he was carrying, he was wisest one. and with that soul, with that zeal, which was unconditional, with no attitude, no ego. I've never seen an HR like that, and it was like so overwhelming, so moved to my heart. And on top of it, I saw these kids. These kids, they have to stand in the queue to take the meal, and every meal they take, they just go to their seats and they take a seat, and they put the meal down, but before taking the meal, they offer the prayer to the God, and there is no picture of anybody in front of them. So they give this beautiful prayers back to the light, and there is like flash of light. So even if the windows are closed, just during that prayer, they open the window, and all these kids stand in the queue. They look up, holding the hand like this, and they just pray. When they pray, it's very touching. It's because when they pray, they sing, you are the savior of their life. And every meal they take, it's with their grace, with His grace. I will never forget that moment when I saw these children. And it's so touching that we are blessed with parents who brought us up. It doesn't matter, my mom shook me off from the acceptance that I am her child, or whatever it is, my circumstance, or put me into a different stage or state of discomfort and loneliness and a really dangerous situation. But I think at this level I can talk it out and I can shout. But these children, they are like orphaned from the time they're born, and they don't know how their mom look like or their father look like. They never got that affection and love from their parents, and they know from their conscious mind they brought up in this NGO, and they have to work as a kids. They have to work in the night doing some rat picking job and come back home early morning and study, go to school and study. Even if they don't have schools, they study at home. They get some books to read, and that's it, their studies, that's it. And they are in such a poor condition with no bed, no sheets. I mean, like, even I have gone through the similar experiences where back in the UAE, all of a sudden you are just vacant and you don't know where to go, and luckily you're adult enough that you can just take a decision where you want to stay. You can excuse and you can borrow some money and stuff like that. You can do a lot of adjustments. But then when you are a kid, when you're a child, you don't have much options. You can only look up to the God and could say like, save your life, save our life and protect us. So it's like an expression of silence, lamp of silence. That's what come in my mind, because a lamp is silent. It gives only peace, it will offer only light. And trust me, that experience really moved me, and I decided that whatever I do in life, I contribute to them. But that's exactly the reason when I wanted to become independent. When I thought of starting this business, it's like some contribution I give it to them, so that it makes a meaning for my existence. Because when I got hurted from my own child, from my own son, um, I was feeling this pain inside my heart so badly that why did he hurt me? Why did he do this? Why is he listening to other people? Why is he following wrong people? And I was not able to understand his state of mind at that point in time, but I was feeling the sense of hurt, and that pain was so severe that no mother should feel it, and it's so very sick. When you raise a child, you raise the child with a lot of pain from the time of the birth till, till the whole life. You just take a pain to nurture the child. I've gone through a lot as a single parent, so for me my experience of pain was even worse. And after all that, when you are back to your child and when your child is against you, it hurt. It really hurt. But then I just was so hurted that I wanted to make this pain go off from my heart, from my soul. So I just don't know what should I do, and then I was searching for something, some crystal to heal my pain and all that stuff, and I saw this Rudraksha. And as also I felt like, this is a good symbol, like to just go for it and buy that. And when I bought it, I just worn it. The moment I closed my eyes, there was some gravitational force was pulling me down when the Rudraksha touched my heart, and there's so much strong gravity inside in it. And I closed my eyes for the moment to just get acquainted with this energy, what is flowing inside in me after I won that Rudraksha. And the moment I closed it, I just recollected the face of that child, looking up and praying and saying, thanks for this meal. You are my mother, you are my father. We don't have any other way to go. And that moment on, it changed my perspective completely. I decided whatever the effort I put across henceforth, I always used to call them, I always used to interact with them and say, I will donate, I will give you this, that, stuff. But truly, I want to build that impact of doing some CSR activities with them. It's just paying money will not make you touch each soul. And trust me, these kids are so loving, so much loving. My God, I was the only girl whom they were been very much fond of, because they're not used to see all this, girls coming into their rooms and everything. And it sometimes stings, sometimes smell badly and all, but we overlook to all this criteria, and we do the job as a CSR person to offer them the meal and food, and make them part of our life as well. And that's the true essence of that particular activity, which was being so profoundly done by Mr. Lalit in his Lalit hotels and resorts. And each and every year they contribute in a beautiful way. A lot of activities what Lalit plays in his hotel is marvelous. It's worth $1 million to learn from, because the management people benefit. How beautiful, how well Mr. Lalit Suri have made each and every execution of his experience to the society, to the children, to the plantation, and even to the HR platform. It was a beautiful work done by the late Lalit Suri. For us, a very motivational, very inspiring personality. When you look at the way he structured Lalit, Ashoka and Lalit as the group of hotel. A lot of activities which is very inspiring, worth learning, and it make you transform to next level. The way how we look at employees and society in general. I will never forget my learning from Lalit Ashok from Bangalore and Marriott Hotels, Meridien, Bangalore. It's no more, but those memories are beautiful, beautiful memories of all time. But yes, of course, those experiences really moved me. I do remember one of the teacher of my son's school. He rightly mentioned in a very philosophical way, if he think that he is orphan, he left with no parents to take care of him. Let me tell you, we all are orphan in our own ways, right? We feel the comfort only when there is a physical presence of people in our close proximity, or probably in our room. But when we are alone, we know we are orphan. And then a lot of tension comes in our mind that what will happen, this, that, and shelter and food and stuff like that. But that's the truth. We all are orphan. And who is with us is only the supreme light, when God who has created us. The rest all is supposed to be here, right? Well, I just felt like to share this experience because when I do remember the last conversation, where the beautiful conversation, it's not last, but a very beautiful and touching conversation I had with this child who was sitting next to me. We've been having meal together, and I was getting very emotional. My manager could look at me, the HR person, he can look at me, and he was saying like, Shani's about to cry. I'm a very sensitive, very, very, very emotional person. If I see anything like that, deprived and heart-touching experiences, I just, my heart just poured off, with a lot of compassion, a lot of love and care, and it just cried out. So I was like full of tears, and I was like about to cry, and my managers were like, oh no, she's gonna cry. And this child was like looking at me, and he actually changed my entire emotion in just a split second. And he was having this beautiful cake with him, and he was like tired of, he had enough of the cake, and my plate was not having cake, so he just looked at me and was like, do you want cake from my plate, because you don't have a cake in your plate? And it's like, no, that's okay, we brought it for you, you can have it. And he's like, no, I'm done, so you can have it. So I said like, then fine, you can give me one bite. And then he said like, yeah, fine. So he took one small bite and gave it to me. It was so beautiful, so touching. Like, they hardly get this moment of, rejoicing, sweetness in their mouth. But even despite of all that, when the child offered me that cake, I felt like that's a beautiful heart, and a beautiful soul. When the pandemic happened, the first fall when I came to India, I gave it to them, I called them, and I asked about these children, what happened with them, did they took the vaccination and all. And it's like, we lost many of them. And that was like, I don't know how many, whom all I met, but I do remember when I was capturing the picture, a group picture along with them, they all were being like making me squeeze in the middle and they all are be like, coming down and like looking at me and then um and saying say cheese and all that kind of expression was like very, very loving. And trust me, it's like they touch your soul. They touch you very deep within you. To know the pain and know the differences that some are lucky to have a home and some are not. Some are lucky to have parents and some are not. Despite all that circumstances, when they can open their heart to love and share, why can't we could do that same? So we all are orphan, despite you live in a home or you live on the street. There is no street for them because it's a hard life. And those lives has to be protected. So it's a responsibility of some, like people who live in a good life, people who earn better, people who do good in their jobs. It's their responsibility to not overlook to these children, to these kids, but to support them. Because when you support them, you realize the potential, and not just that, their heart, how much they can love you back, and that's a great strength. I've grown up in the city of Mumbai, where I've seen each and every street you can see, this orphanage, poor children in a very deprived situations, circumstances and conditions which are really, really, really unhealthy and poor. And when you see them, they come to you asking for money and you give them money. But when you give them money, you also feel like to give them some food. And we are here today having 3-time meals, 4-time meals, not knowing that someone out there is crying for the meal. Someone out there is waiting for a next customer who can give them shelter or who can give them, that compassionate heart. Bottom line is, we are one. Pandemic has made us realize that we all are one. There is no poor, there is no rich. Same way, we all are one in the hand of God. Some are blessed, some are not. So offer the prayer before the meal. That's the lesson what I've learned from those children. And open your heart to share from that beautiful soul who touched my heart. And I hope when you do the same, someone will touch your heart. Until the next insight, this is Misha and